Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pooh, the trigger, yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So, as the headline reads, apparently there has been a law enforcement agent, a policeman, who came out yesterday and he made a post which actually went viral. I posted it on my Facebook, and in that post, he was accusing Johnson Suleman of having sacrificed his fellow policeman. And his name is Alfred Shea. So on this particular post that he did, he said quite a lot of things. Shea Peters Alfred. That is the name that he was running by on his social media platform. And this is what he said before we critically analyze what he eventually said after having said this. And when he said this, Johnson Suleman also had to respond to what Alfred Shea had said. So let's just do a quick rundown of what Alfred Shea said concerning the incident that claimed 7 lives. This man is, I think, is an alleged policeman who was not feeling okay about the incident, who was also maybe mourning when this incident happened. So he had so much to say. We might not go into detail into the full script, but I'll just brief you and give you an insight of what he said that actually provoked Johnson Suleman to a point whereby Suleman had to respond to him through his tweet. This is what Alfred Shea had to say. Any of you calling Suleman a man of God, with all the things you saw and heard him saying, your case has gone from bad to worse. I must block all of you everywhere. I mean, anywhere I see you on Facebook. Not too long ago, before I left Benin, my Mopo are the ones providing security for Suleman. We know and saw a lot of things. You Mumu followers coming to type judge not on social media. Those officers who died while following this EVIL men just died for nothing. And now only them paying me pass because the poor people and that lady died at the back of the Hilux shows so much about the atrocities of this man. They are in it together. No be God save me. What if this sacrifice he made happened when my boys are still with him? Now wahala. I dey now answering query. A bulletproof car is good for himself and family. The rest people are not human enough to use bulletproof cars because he knows his hands are not clean. By that video he made, it is evidently clear that he has a deal with some cartels who want him dead, but said he's going to mention their names. He's not going to mention their names because he knew if he mentioned their names and they are arrested, his secret will come out. That's why he said he won't mention their names. But you just mention them, Sulu boy. Our officers cannot die just like that. If they had killed his wife and 5 children in that incident, as they killed our officers, will the IDIOT come out to say he will not mention their names? He even said the one shooting and killing people, he knows him, but will not kill him. Karma will caught up with him. Just imagine the life of those who passed away are useless. So far, you and your family are okay. Each time I watch that video, I feel like tearing him apart if I could. I'm so angry right now. I couldn't sleep since yesterday. I was just thinking, what if now my boys? So this particular gentleman is alleging that he used to send some of his boys to Suleman to go and become his mobile security. So when this post trended, Suleman had to do a counter to this post because many people had seen this post, so he felt the need to respond to this gentleman, to this police officer. This is what Mr. Sululu had to say concerning the post that was made by this particular officer. This is an acclaimed police officer called Say Peter Alfred. He made post on Facebook that has gone viral that he used to give me mobile policemen and I used them for rituals. I have never met him in my life or dream. He said the girl that died goes to places for me. I have reported him to the Inspector General and appropriate authorities. He that alleges must prove. I think it's time I start speaking out because silence is considered consent. I'll address many lies that have gone on for years without proofs, and people will be shocked. That was Apostle Suleman responding to Alfred Shea. So in summary, in brief, Alfred Shea came out and then he said he used to provide mobile security for Johnson Suleman. So he's actually resenting to say, what if the guys that were shot on this incident were one of his boys that he's used to dispatching to go and offer security for Suleman? And he is saying that Suleman did a sacrifice. This was not just a coincidence. This was a sacrifice. I say this with sensitivity and with also consideration of the families that are mourning. That's why I do not want to emphasize on the conspiracy theory of these people having been sacrificed. You know, sacrificials are not something that we can prove. That's why I do not want to deliberate much on that aspect or whether or not it is true or not, but we should at least give the families of the ones that who have lost their loved ones, to grieve in peace and not to cause more pain and more damage to what they might end up imagining or what they might end up thinking. So my analyzation will basically just be scraping the surface, and as time goes on, as people heal, as time passes, we can now come and start inspecting and start looking at the facts and figures and basing also on the pending investigation. It will also give us so many pointers as to what could really have transpired. Who was behind it? Who did it? That's why I had said that I wanted to put this case on the shelf and wait for it to mature and see how it develops. But as new information keeps coming out, I think it's just for us to just deal with it as time passes. So that was Alfred Shea's remarks after this incident happened, as he made the accusations to Suleman that this was a sacrifice, and what if my boys were the ones that were protocoling you on this day? They could have lost their lives. So do you mean to tell me that it is only your life and your family's life that is important? The lives of others is not important, because apparently you are the only one with an armored vehicle, a bulletproof vehicle, while the rest were left naked. We're just protocoling you and providing security for you at a very high risk. Those were actually Andile Shea's sentiments, and he expressed how angry he was with the incidents. And Sulu Boy also came out, and then he had to make his response, and then he said what he had to say. So, after all has been said and done, after Suleman gave that response to Alfred Shea, it so happened that Alfred Shea, he created another account, and he claimed that post on his official Facebook page, it was not him who wrote that article. He now claims that he was hacked. He now says that I have no hand in any of the information that is on that particular post. So on the new page that he had to create, this is what he had to say. This is what Mr. Shea had to say. Let me scroll through and look at it. So on the new handle on his Facebook, it's now Shea A. Peters. And he wrote that this was 16 hours ago when this screenshot was taken. And he said, to the general public, and especially to Apostle Johnson Suleman, I saw my name trending online that I made a post alleging you of rituals. I want to tell the general public that I am not aware of the said post. My account, Shea Peters Alfred, has been hacked, and I'm still trying to get it fixed. So I did not make such post. Please, the general public, be aware. Is it because Apostle Suleman had reported him or had told him that I'm going to report you to the authorities for the allegations that you made that brought or drove Alfred Shea to come and retract his statements through a different channel or a different platform? Could it be everything that he alleged or what he said about providing mobile security to Johnson Suleman was a lie? Or could it be that when Alfred Shea realized that he can't prove the allegations that he laid on Johnson Suleman, had to be forced to go and do damage control and withdraw every statement that he had made and say that his account was hacked? Or could it be that Alfred Shea was threatened by his top officials that do not put your mouth on issues that are above your pay grade? Because one thing from my own judgment and conclusion, there is no way Alfred Shea's account was hacked. Alfred Shea does not just want to take the liability or does not want to stand on his word or on his accusations simply because he probably can't take the heat. He does not want to stand true on his own statements. Alfred Shea's account was never hacked. That was Alfred Shea writing whatever that he was writing. If he wanted to be an honorable man, all he had to do was to come and say, I'm sorry for what I said, and swallow his own words rather than lie to the general public that my account was hacked. It was not me who had the intention of laying the allegations or of saying what I say. In short, all I'm just trying to say is Alfred Shea is a coward. I believe real men, when they do something that they know they can't take the heat for it, they should just come back and say, it was me. But I do not have proof of what I said, or what I said I lied. So please, people, forgive me. I was just emotional because of the incident. So I had to also pour out my heart and say the things that I said, maybe out of ignorance or out of being emotional or out of being sentimental. Not him coming with a new script saying that my account was hacked. I don't believe his account was hacked. Maybe it was hacked, I don't know. But personally, I'm speaking from my own point of view. I don't believe his account was hacked. I believe this is the entire police department that is doing damage control for their own team. To say, how can be one of our own be saying this to Apostle Suleman, yet they probably do not have any proof to prove the allegations that were made by Alfred Shea. But the other thing to question, could Alfred Shea just come out and say he was providing security personnel to go and guard Suleman without any facts in it? Could he lie about all that? What I can say is he might not be sure about the ritualistic part, but on the aspect of him saying he used to provide mobile security for Suleman, could he just be saying that out of the blue? Could he just make that up just so that he can trend on social media? Because also, according to Suleman's response, he said he does not know this man from A to Z. He has no clue of who Alfred Shea is. He does not know this police officer from A to Z. So this is kind of confusing. And then we end up having Alfred Shea with a different account saying that he does not know who wrote that post. What Nigerians cannot do does not exist. But at the very same token, this case that we are talking about, this case that we are deliberating on, it's still very sensitive. And in everything that we say, we also have to put into consideration the families that have suffered these losses. Some of them are probably here watching, and we have to be careful of what we say, especially in respect of the deceased. I think we need to honor them and also be respectful in our comments towards those ones that lost their lives in this unfortunate event. So moving on, before I go any further, may their souls rest in peace. Save our lives, death is ever ready. So as we move forward, there's a small segment that I want to touch on. I came across a video online. And in this video, okay, before I talk about the video that I came across online, when this incident happened, Suleman came out and one of the first things that he said was, this started in 2017. All this is coming from 2017. It's something that has been orchestrated all the way from 2017. So in 2017, so many things happened. Some of us do not know what happened in 2017. But as we also go through different pieces of information, as we consume different information on these digital spaces, there are two things that I was made to understand that took place in 2017. And Suleman actually did a video, I think in 2017, and he addressed this issue of politicians and the government having to do with something and some of the accusations that have been following him. But this is more or less in contradiction to what his son, Kasi Chuku, had to say, that he is suspecting pastors, he is suspecting some bloggers. But, at the end of the day, we can't really take Kasi's opinions serious. We can't really put them in a conversation which is as serious as this one. So let's just take Kasi's testimony aside. Let's brush it off for now. And let's look at the major points that really might help us understand what is going on and where this case is headed to. In 2017, there was a case of Otobo. Otobo came out and she said what she said. She spoke about her experience with Johnson Suleman, and she also eventually came out and apologized that everything that she said about Johnson Suleman, it was the government. There are some government officials that were bankrolling her to come out and say all those things. But as time passed on, there is another video of Otobo again that surfaced on the internet, which she pre-recorded before she went on to apologize to Johnson Suleman. And in that video, Otobo was seen, I heard her saying that I'm pre-recording this video before I go to apologize to Johnson Suleman. And it is Johnson Suleman who wants me to go and lay charges on government official and lay charges on the government and accuse the government of having sent me, of using me to come out and say all the sort of things that I've been saying. I don't know if you people can understand what I'm trying to say without giving you the visuals of the testimonies from Otobo herself.
It's crazy how nobody in Nigeria can actually talk to this man. And I know I'm not the one dealing with this guy because he thinks he can just end me somehow. He keeps doing this. This whole case is supposed to be ending and dying down right now, at least for the Christian faith. But as a man of God that's supposed to be showing good examples, he is telling me to come and make a video to lie that it's the government of Nigeria that's putting me up to this. This is what Suleman is asking me to do.
In brief, what I'm trying to say is, I hope most of you understand this already. Otobo was on Suleman's case. And before she apologized to Suleman in Suleman's church, she did a video. And in that video, she was preempting Suleman's plan to say that Suleman has told me and he has given me a script to go to his church and apologize to him. And in that apology, I must say it is the government or its government officials that have been bankrolling me to come out and talk the way that I was talking and to come out and accuse Suleman or lay any form of charges against Suleman. So in that very same year, Suleman also did a video. And in that video, he said, I think I came across that video online. It will be beneficial, I think, if I just play it so that most of you can understand what Suleman said on the issue concerning the 2017 saga. The reason why I'm bringing about the 2017 saga, because that was one of the first things that Suleman said when this incident, when this massacre took place, to say in 2017, this thing has been long coming. So I'm trying to connect the events of 2017 and the current events. So back in 2017, I'm sure this video was recorded back then in 2017. And I'm sure this video is not recent. If it is recent, please correct me. And if it was from 2017, also please let me in the comment section. So this is what Suleman had to say back then. I saw this video online.
Courage that no matter the conspiracy. 2017, some ministers called me to Abuja after I spoke against the killings on national scale. And they sat me down, drew a bag of money, and said to me, take this and shut up. And they drew out an AK-47, they drew out a newspaper. They said, choose three. You take this or you go by these two. And I said, I don't understand what you mean. There was a gun, there was newspaper. They said, because if you don't do that in the next 1 year, we'll make sure in this country you don't hold the microphone again. We'll make sure, keep your mouth shut. And I said to them, I never knew what I said was actually a big deal. Now I want to start talking. I said, if you want to come from me, please, you are very free to bother yourself because I'm going to keep talking. And I kept on speaking. I had a revelation.
Okay. So according to Suleman, he was approached by government officials because he had been advocating for the killings that were happening in Nigeria in 2017. According to his statement, he is saying that some ministers called him to their offices and they offered him money so that he stops talking about those killings, so that he stops advocating for the innocent lives that were being taken out, be it by whatever organizations that are there in Nigeria. And upon offering him this money and the proposal of zipping his mouth, there was a gun on it and there was a newspaper on it. So the explanations of the symbols of this gun and this newspaper was just referring to media. And the ministers told him that if you do not take this money, if you do not zip your mouth, you'll never stand on the pulpit ever again. So by presenting these symbols of a gun, I'm sure it is relating to the recent incident of him being shot and this recent incident of the massacre that is only now coming into manifestation today, as he was promised by these ministers. And with the aspect, the symbolical meaning of the newspaper, it was more about media, that we will bring more falsified information about you. We will forever make sure that you will be trending for all the wrong reasons in the media. So he said, I chose not to take their money, and I said I'll never stop talking. So in conclusion, based on what he said in this video, what he's generalizing on what he's concluding on is people. Maybe it was a prophet, or maybe he was preparing his people to say, the day or any time you hear me being accused in media, through newspapers, blogs, or any form of digital media, just know that I was threatened already, simply because I did not take the money, simply because I chose not to keep my mouth shut. And the issue of the gun was also a symbolical meaning of saying, if you do not take this money, if you do not stop calling out the government or advocating for these people that are being killed, we are going to come after you and we will make sure that we assassinate you. So now, in his recent video that he did, he spoke about the issue of 2017, that this has been long coming. And the media aspect, I hope, is also attaching to the testimony that Stephanie Otobo gave, saying that I was being used by the government. There are some ministers who were behind this. So in other words, what he's trying to say is, everything Otobo was saying, he was being bankrolled by these ministers, simply because Suleman refused to take money from these ministers. Simply because Suleman refused to zip his mouth about the injustice and about the killings that were happening in Nigeria. I'm going to leave the floor open for all of you. I can't think through this whole thing alone. I need your input. What do you make out of these scenarios that I have given, and what Suleman said, and what the police officer said, and his recent withdrawal of the statements that he made? I don't want to keep talking, or else I might lead you into a maze of confusion. Someone commented that, Prof X, your videos are too long. Please go straight to the point. I don't know how to get straight to the point. I believe some issues needs to be broken down into manageable pieces for easy consumption so that people can get the bigger picture. If we just rush through these things, some people might not digest this information properly, or it might end up choking them, and there might not be any sense being made out of what we're talking about. So analyze these scenarios that I've given you and tell me what you think in the comments section as we also wait for the investigation and to see what the police will say concerning this massacre, who was behind it, who is the main culprit behind it. So with that being said, I'll check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. This is Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.